So my father was a native San Franciscan. He also lived here in Redwood City. Dempsey lived here in Redwood City, California. Grew up on Lowell Street, right here in Redwood City. Irishman who was a Sequoia High School student, went to University of San Francisco, was in World War II as a Navy cadet, and then he was drafted and played for the San Francisco Seals for several years in the late 40s. And then he was purchased by the Pittsburgh Pirates and played in the major leagues, had his what they call a cup of coffee in the big leagues, pitched all of 3 games in the major leagues in April and May of 1951. So when he was young, it took a while. He was, as they called these players, and they still call them today, late bloomers. But when he was 20, come to realize that he played for the Redwood City Merchants right here in Redwood City, San Mateo County. And he didn't have much of a high school career as a baseball player, but as soon as they realized what a good pitcher he became a very popular player and played on a number of teams. The Redwood City Merchants was one of them as a 20-year-old babyface before he even signed a pro contract and went on to play pro ball. The fascination with the old-time baseball up until the San Francisco Giants came from New York was and is still to this day incredible. He's really looked at really in some respects as a local hero, because he didn't just play for the Seals. He led the team in strikeouts for the Pacific Coast League, the whole league, a couple of years in a row. And they had with Lefty O'Doul as their coach, they had such a great camaraderie with the fans at Seals Stadium. And locally, that was the only choice for baseball, that and the Oakland Oaks. And there was such a great rapport with the fans in the city of San Francisco and the whole area. Yeah, my father was on the 1949 team that took the Goodwill Tour to Japan, and that was phenomenal. That was post-World War II, just on the heels, and General MacArthur was part of that decision to send the San Francisco Seals to go on a 2-week junket to go play the various Japanese teams, and that was an absolute honor for them. They were treated like royalty, and it was just phenomenal. They played in front of crowds that were well over 100,000 people in baseball stadiums. They played in the pouring rain. They overcame the language barrier. They had translators. So this is a jacket, a very beautiful suede part leather jacket that was presented to the Japanese community and the baseball organization in Japan. Presented it, which you can see the Seals insignia and the very cool Seals logo with the baseball floating above the Seals nose. These were presented to all the players that came over in 1949. There was one real funny story my dad used to tell, of many, because there are a lot of stories in the world of baseball, old and new. But he was a very religious man, and he was a right-handed pitcher. When he was on the mound, he would often, before the game, during the game, he kept rosary beads, such as this, in his back pocket. So he'd often be seen bending over or almost genuflecting in a way, and he would reach into his back pocket and he would reach for the rosary beads for a little quick prayer, because he wanted to have everything in his advantage. So he thought by rubbing kind of like a positive stone or a hope stone, but he was rubbing the rosary beads. And it was funny because there was coaches that thought he had a bad back, because he would bend over oftentimes reaching for the rosary beads in his pocket to get a little, a little bit of mojo from a higher being to help him through his particular inning or game. But that was something that he did that was one of the sidebars of yesteryear.